Hello, hello, Femmes. Happy Monday. I am Violet de Ayala. I'm the founder of Fem City, and you're joining me today for our Monday Motivation Series. I do this every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and I always have amazing guests that I think offer an abundance of inspiration and motivation for us, and sometimes a lot of clarity as well. Today, we have Lola T. Small. I've known Lola for so many years. I'm pulling up my notes now. I've known Lola for so many years. And what I love most about Lola is that she's incredibly passionate about a multitude of projects that she takes on. She's an advocate for others. She's often the voice for others as well when they don't have a voice. I think her three titles, I mean, she's got so many titles, but today we're going to go with coach, author, and social entrepreneur. She has been on many of my classes. We've had her on, you were part of the conversation on racism and how to heal soulfully. You've been a part of our live classes as well. You've been a part of like every single platform. So I'm so excited and I'm so happy that you're joining me today. So thank you so much, Lola, for joining us.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of stuff. But I think it in so well with what we were talking about today, that all of us are crazy, busy, multi-passionate, multi-entrepreneurs of everything. But how do we find that middle that keeps us centered and grounded?
Yeah. I got chills when you said that. I have loved seeing you flourish. You were always successful, right? When I met you years ago, you were always very successful. I have loved seeing you grow so much and be the expander for so many other people as well. You were the catalyst of your recent book. Actually, Lisa, one of your co-authors, just popped in. Hey, Lisa. I think that said so much about your spirit, your soul, your purpose. So anyway, we'll dive into that a little bit more, but definitely check out Lola's new book. And Lisa's also, because Lisa's joining us now in the chat as well. So ladies, today we're going to talk about adding grace into business. And the reason why we're doing this class is because we had so many women that actually had asked us for this. How do you add grace in business? How do you have that balance where you're making money, you're making a difference, but you're doing it with spirit, with soul, with purpose? And I thought Lola would be an amazing person to share how she does. I mean, she also does many, many projects, many businesses. And I think that it's a great person to have to share because it's not, and she was also a mom and, she's got a husband and she manages all these different components. She's someone who I always think of grace and business and that combination as well. So anything you want to add to that, Lola, before we dive in?
No, I mean, I think let's dive right in. There's so much to talk about. I think this is I'm so grateful and happy that you chose this as the topic because I think this is the topic for the next century and millennium, let's dive right in.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because Sarah Sparks, who's another one of our global members, Lola's a global member, and she also launched a Fem City community for us. She's just incredibly an advocate in our community as well. Sarah Sparks and Candace Thomas, I think you know them both. They're both Fem City global members. They both said in different moments, in different segments, that 2021 would be the year where that service, that purpose is more of a driving force, not so much like the business and the revenue, and that the business and the revenue will come. But they both said that. So you're the third person that's pretty much said that as 2021 comes over into our horizon, closer than ever, that this will be the conversation that many more will have. They'll want to have more grace as they go in through business. And I want to, if you guys are watching us live, if you have questions, if you want to follow along in the conversation, we encourage you to add comments, your thoughts, your aha moments. And if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to tag myself and Lola. This conversation does not end once we're over. So I just want to make sure that it's a little reminder that we want you guys, our intention is to help you with business and grace. All right, so let's get down to it. So some might be thinking, what is grace and how does it apply to business? Like, what is that all about? Fem City's slogan is business for your soul. So if you're part of Fem City, you probably get it already. But if you're not a part of Fem City and you're watching us for the first, you're like, what is that? So how would you describe that combination between the two, business and grace?
I think first and foremost is us recognizing that the old ways of doing things and our old world structure no longer is working the way that it is. You know, the old way of business is, you know, push and shove and, you know, do anything you can to get the sales, right? Cobra Kai, no mercy. You know, push until you succeed. In one of the books that I read recently, it talked about how business world and workplace cultures really is like a masculinity contest. You know, let's see how macho we can be so that we can get to the top. That's the old way of doing things. We are already seeing from many different, you know, world leaders and political situations, whatever, that those old ways are crumbling because it cannot sustain itself. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good. And what doesn't feel good, our bodies and our hearts reject. We don't want that stuff.
Yeah.
It might work for a while and has worked for, you know, the times that it has, but it's starting to show that that burnout is happening, that crumbling, that dismantling is starting to happen. It's not sustainable. And yet grace is everywhere within us and outside of us, everywhere. It's like the water that we swim in, but yet we have ignored it. We have not been able to, you know, see that it's the essence of who we are. So now is the time. Now is the time to start from that place of amplifying human connections.
Yes.
The heart.
Yeah, I love that. You know, I think that during this pandemic, you know, everyone, right, went into a sort of panic mode at the beginning. Every business had to pivot. Every career had to pivot. I mean, there was not one person who was like, oh, I didn't have to pivot. I mean, everyone had to pivot to some degree, some more than others. And I think that that was the part that I saw a lot of femmes embrace more, is to find that flow, to find that harmony, to have that grace versus the old style of just the aggression, the more calculated, non-human interaction, more just kind of like you were saying, that energy. And that now it's, I think there are more people realizing that you can make a tremendous amount of wealth in this world. And wealth doesn't have to be monetarily. And you can also have a very fulfilled, graceful presence while accomplishing that as well. So I think I think this year it's a great conversation to have as we close out the year, because we couldn't have had this conversation at the beginning. People would have been like, girl, I need to make my mortgage payment. I need to make my rent. Like, I need to figure out how to pay for my, you know, my kids' peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So I think now we're kind of starting to see like, okay, you know, now how do we shift into a place that feels really good for us? So let's talk about the importance of adding that grace to business, because I think some people might be watching now and going, I really just need to focus on the money. I really just need to focus on, you know, supporting my family or making ends meet. I don't have time to think about the grace and the spiritual side and the soulful side and the community and the interaction. Why do you think it's important? And you touched upon this a little bit, but I'm kind of trying to drive it home a little bit more. Why do you think it's important to really illustrate the importance of having grace and business in that sweet spot that benefits everyone?
Yes, I don't know where along the way it happens where we forget that business and work and money is about people. I mean, if you're not selling to people, like, who are you selling to? You know, if it's not people who's buying from you, then who's buying from you? So at the end of the day, the importance is to remember that that's what we're doing in the first place, is not only serving other people, but when we have that exchange of money and time and service or whatever, it then is benefiting us and the people in our own lives that we're trying to take care of. So at the end of the day, it's that people to people, heart to heart, that's doing the transactions, right?
Yeah.
The money and the service and the product or whatever, those are just extensions of what we as human beings are needing and wanting and offering and exchanging.
Yeah. I always say, I know people have heard me say it 100 times, and I'm not going to roll their eyes, but humans do business with humans they love. And that connection, I think that many miss that point because they have a good, you know, template that they're using or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, like, if you think of your favorite brands, there's generally like my favorite places to buy bread or buy flowers. There's generally like someone behind that I know. Or if there's, I mean, most of the time there's a little intention that's behind that because you want to go ahead and support that person. So it goes always back to that human part of it, that human side of it. And it feels really good, by the way, when you are of service and you are making money, but the other person's benefiting and you have that relationship with them. So if you guys have any questions, I know there's quite a bit watching. We'd love to hear from you. Can everyone do this, Lola? Can every business have grace implemented?
Absolutely. If you're a human, even if you're a robot, the human behind it can program in some sort of heart and love into the way you do things. Recently on LinkedIn, and I feel like it's an Autobot of some sort, because I really do not want to believe that humans talk like this, because literally, somebody sends me a cold message and then follows up the next day like, oh my God, I did not think our talk would be this cold, Lola. And I'm like, oh my God, like, are you a real person talking like this?
Yeah.
If you are a human being and you have a beating heart and you have the brains to create and program, technology with heart in it, yes, you can. I think it takes us to it takes us to, take a step back, take a deep breath, pause, and just remember the overall purpose of us doing things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you tap into that, then yes, you can start from that place.
I love Lisa just added a question I try to ask myself at the start of each day is, how do I want to show up? Then I get really quiet and listen to my inner voice. That's beautiful. I remember the first time I started thinking about grace in business, I remember reading or seeing or hearing about Eunice Kennedy at the end, like every night. Apparently, they'd sit at the dinner table, all the kids, and she would ask, what did you guys do today to better the world? Like, what did you do? And I think that there's a way that we can implement that thinking, just like what Lisa said. Is that thinking about your service to others doesn't mean that you have to be poor. It doesn't mean that you're not going to receive back, but it's how can I be of service? How can I help others? And the beautiful part is that you would then, that energy that is exchanged, you would receive monetarily, right? Or some sort of bartering or some sort of like relationship or whatever. It doesn't have to be like, money for money, but I love that question. How do you want to show up? And
Yes,
go through that.
I think the challenge is, I like to kind of see it on a spectrum. And obviously the sweet spot is that in the middle. If you're somebody who's more used to like the push and hard and, money and blah, blah, then you need to kind of learn and search within yourselves. And I'm sure it comes up in your own personal life too. How do I soften a little bit more? How do I give myself a little bit more compassion? How can I treat myself and the people I'm dealing with a little bit more heart, and then come to that middle spot? Then there's, some of us who are like, oh my God, I would give you the shirt off my back. And, I just keep giving and giving and giving. And, am frustrated when I don't know how to make money, because to me, I have abundance everywhere and wealth everywhere through how I'm giving and receiving, but yet the world runs on money. So how do I also have a little bit more of the business skills, those strategies, and come to that middle, that sweet spot where you have both?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's like the win-win. Every situation I come up with in my mind before I implement it, I'm thinking to myself, how do people win? And is that an even win? Right? So is that an equal balance of win-win? That's that sweet spot. I think that is filled with grace, where it's a fair trade, a fair connection. So we have Sheldon joining us from Philadelphia. We love you, Sheldon. We love you. And we love Lisa too. All right, Lola. So let's say someone's watching now and going, okay, I get it. I crave that. I want to have more of this in my life. I'm feeling like I'm missing that part of my soul. What do I do? So what are some tips that femmes can start doing today that will help them to add more grace in their business?
First step, I think, always start with yourself. Many of us we're ambitious, we are very competent, and we're powerful women. And we have very little grace for ourselves. We're very hard on our own accomplishments. We expect more and more and more from our own selves that we forget to have grace for us. You are enough. You are doing enough. It's okay to take a break. And it's okay. It's not even okay. It's mandatory and essential we take care of us. How often do we neglect our own self-care and exercise and all those things that we need to do that might feel like it's soft and weak because we're not out there chasing and getting the money. So start within and start from us in our own personal examples of how we lead who we are. Second, I think it's then, take inventory and kind of check in with how you are relating to the people that you are doing business with or who you work with, and see, get their feedback. How are they feeling? Are they feeling, from 0 to 10, that they are loving their work with you or showing up at work with you? And that gives us a little bit of a sense of how the kind of presence we are showing up, whether it's too much this way or too much that way. And then, of course, number 3, kind of looking at your business model. Does my language of my marketing reflect, these 2 things? And am I giving back at the same time that I'm receiving? So starting with the self, and then, the circle, immediate circle around you, and then expanding that to the bigger circle of the way that you are doing your work.
Love that. So I wrote down your first topic, your first tip. I find that women, I don't know why we're so hard on ourselves, but you're right. The love has to start with us. It has to start with us. You have to give yourself that grace, especially now. I think that women have been taking on more roles, right? Juggling more like components. There is that sense that they're not giving themselves that amount of grace, which is why I love doing that. We share our wins during part of our curriculum is to share our wins. I think it's really important for women to like feel comfortable in sharing their win, feeling comfortable about acknowledging their greatness. We just don't do that enough. I think we connect it to narcissism, and it's not narcissism. It's just saying, like, literally, I showed up, I stepped into my fear. That was a tough day, but I did it. Like, it can be just that simple. The second one, the inventory, checking to see what's going on, what you got. And then the third one is review and editing. I have to say, I was just telling my husband yesterday, I always go into this like self-reflection in November, December, because things start slowing down for us at Fem City. And it gives me the opportunity to reflect, to say, what am I doing right? What could I be doing better? What did I do really, really well that I want to continue? How is that showing up? Is it a benefit to the world? So now is a great time to do the inventory. Well, of course, it's a great time to do the self-love. It's also a great time to do that inventory, and then to do that review and edit and tweaking, and to see like how you can have more grace, how you can show up. So you have a lot of love coming through. Let me just go ahead and read some of these out. So of course, Lisa in Markham, Canada, giving some love to Sheldon, Philly, love that. Linda Babulik, great topic for today. Tayloria, an excellent and timely topic. An anonymous user, grace, love, respect. We love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And Judy, couldn't get in from Facebook. Sorry, I'm late. No worries, Judy. You can always watch the replay. And again, if you guys want to continue that conversation with us, I encourage you to reach out to Lola or myself and let us know how we can be more of service to you guys. Lisa says, yes, that's a great part of our Fem City workshops. Sharing our wins also puts us in place of gratitude. Yeah. Listen, the components of the curriculum for Fem City: gratitude, sharing our win, and doing an ask. Those are 3 things that women just don't do enough of. Asking for help is another, that, Lola. We've talked about that in the past. Like, women just don't ask for help. We feel like we have to do everything and then perfectly and be gorgeous and be on Instagram and be like, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. Final advice that you have for femmes that are looking to add more grace in their business?
Yes. And, first I like to kind of circle back what you said about the self care and kind of putting ourselves first. I mean, a really good example recently, because, of course, building our new social enterprise, Black Lives Rising, we've been sharing the shirts. And for some reason, I'm sure you'll agree with me, women's shirts are always so tiny. So I'm always having to say, okay, for women's, you got to size up. When I see that, I think about the bigger picture. Our society and our world expect women to be a certain way, that we have to be tiny when it comes to the way we look. And in business and work and in life, women are expected to be this and this and this and this and this and that. And a lot of it doesn't feel good. So we have to have that courage to say, no, that did not feel good. I'm going to build something that works for me. So the shirt is just an example of kind of the bigger macrocosm of like, the world expects us to be like this, and we just got to like break free and say, this is what works for me. And everybody is different. My final advice is, and I kind of like, the little mantra, like results with heart. Okay. How do I generate results with heart? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you do for your business. Every single human being, we want to be valued, we want to be loved, and we want to feel like we mean something. You know, we're important and we matter. So how can I create results for whatever I'm delivering and selling, and do it with heart so that those who are on the receiving end can feel those things?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like people do feel that. I feel that when you enter into a relationship, whether it's business or in personal, I think people feel your energies, even though you feel like you might be, you know, pretending to be something. I really do feel that people connect. I know I've had business come to me in the past by people that really didn't know me, but they were like, yeah, but I knew your intention. I know you're always, you know, so I think the energy is just like you shared right there, is just to come through from what's your intention? How do you want to help others? How, you know, people feel that. People feel that. So you got some more love coming through. So Agatha says yes with like 3 exclamation points. By the way, I always do 3 exclamation points also. I don't know why. I can't do 1. I have to do like 3. So, and then Judy says, totally true. I got business shirts and all of them were too small from what the sizes were. I thought were they sizing for kids. Not a good feeling. Absolutely. And then Agatha says, standing in your truth. And Lisa added, yes, Violet, your energy enters the room before you even say a word. Absolutely. And that's for everyone. I think that, well, again, and then we can go into mindset another time, but you know, that mindset, when you have that poverty mindset and you have that kind of scarcity mindset and you have conversations and you don't get business, I always feel like, because it's down deep inside, people can feel that you're not in a place where you're coming out of it from an abundance point of view. That's a whole other conversation that we can do. I can talk about that all day.
That's a whole other summit altogether. So
yes, exactly. So I'm excited. Now you said summit. So Lola is going to be on our panel. We have our first movie night coming up November 20th. So Lola is going to be on the panel as we talk about gender inequality and how we can all start to make the changes in our community when it comes to women and equality and how we're seen. So I'm super excited about that, our first movie night. So thank you so much, Lola. How can femmes find you? I'm sure you have some new fans that will love to follow you along your journeys, all these projects that you have going on. How can femmes find you?
Yes, Facebook. I'm loving really building, kind of bringing more focus into, you know, the group that I'm serving and connecting with and growing with. On Facebook, if you would like to find me in my group, Powerful Rising Women, of course, very applicable. And then I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn as well. So if you connect with me on Facebook, then, you know, we can connect there. But I'm on Facebook all day. It's kind of my second home.
Yes, yes. And Telodia says, so many good tips. Lola and Violet, I like that energy and intention. And then Telodia wraps it up by saying a great topic for the future, mindset. Yes, so Telodia, January is all about money mindset. And in December, I'm working on the curriculum right now. We have a lot of money and mindset conversations coming up. So we're going to prepare for 2021. We're going to get all in gear. So let us know if there's another class that you guys want us to lead or another conversation with Lola. Let us know. And Lisa says, can't wait for movie night. I know I can't wait for movie night either. Cannot wait. So, and that's in partnership with Misrepresentation. So it's free for members, but we do recommend or suggest that you do a small donation. If you can do a bigger one, that's great too, for Misrepresentation, who does a lot of great work in the world when it comes to women and equality. So thank you so much, Lola. I love you. And I hope you have a great week. I can't wait to see you again. Bye, everyone. We'll see you guys next Monday. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.